Hello everyone, I'm Rodica Verbeniuc and you are watching a new episode of the Into a Leader's Mind podcast, the space where we explore the decisions, the thinking and the way leaders are shaping the future. I'm truly glad to welcome my guest of today, Marina Vernetti, the Chief Operating Officer for Europe, the UK and Africa at Genpact company. Marina is a leader shaped by the movement across countries, cultures and moments that require a bulk of courage. An engineer by education, she holds a bachelor's degree from Politecnico di Torino. Marina brings systems thinking into one of the most complex environments across 3 continents. With over 20 years of experience, Marina has led multinational organizations through transformation, including turning around underperforming portfolios, driving revenue growth with over 50% and increasing customer excellence to the Net Promoter Score level close to 75%. But what truly drives Marina's leadership style goes beyond numbers. It's always about people. She is known for translating complexity into clarity, the pressure into progress. She earns respect in the boardroom, she inspires women to raise their ambitions, and she creates environments where teams feel both challenged and safe to grow. Marina is also a strong advocate for responsible, value-driven AI, guiding Genpact's transformation journey towards an AI-first organization, but grounded not in hype, but in clean processes and measurable impact. Marina, I'm truly glad you are here and thank you for accepting my invitation.
Thank you. What a warm welcome, and I'm humbled by the introduction. Thank you so much.
So let's dive into conversation and let's step into your mind then. So, as I have mentioned, you have an engineering background and it is known for its rigor and for its systems thinking. How much of your leadership style of today is rooted in this engineering mindset?
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes people forget that engineering at its core is the art of using science and math to solve problems and build things that help people. And that last part, that help people, actually is extremely critical and has a lot to do with leadership. My engineering mindset is really my DNA. It does not influence how I think or how I work, but really defines how I lead. Engineering taught me very early that complex problems are never solved just by instinct. You have to start by analyzing the system, the input, the constraint, the output, the feedback loop. And if you look at the region I'm responsible for, UK, Europe,
quite
and
a big
Africa,
one and diverse.
It's actually a complex ecosystem, not just a collection of people and personalities. So when I face leadership challenges, I never ask who is right or who is wrong. I always ask what's broken in the process. Is information not flowing or flowing too slowly? Are incentives misaligned? Or are we trying to optimize all variables at the same time? Because at the end, leadership depends on many different variables, from people to context to culture to technology. And if you want to improve the outcome, then you have to spend time understanding those variables and to improve.
Where exactly is the right problem? But can you recall a moment or a use case when you really needed to apply your engineering logic to solve a leadership challenge?
Absolutely. So there were so many episodes, but one of my favorite was when the department I was in was actually experiencing some uneven performance across region. At that point in time, I was new to the role and to the organization, and I had the mandate to strengthen and lead the Six Sigma quality function across Latin America, US, and Europe. And obviously the initial instinct was to play the role of the bossy leader, demanding more accountability from everyone, pushing harder. Because at the end, this is what we are taught, right?
Yeah.
We are taught to, speak loudly and really demand the very best from everyone. But then I quickly realized that that approach was not really leading me anywhere, and especially was not aligned to my leadership style. So I stepped back and I look at the situation with an engineering lens, and I started to realize that we were running a process, a system across different environments, but we were not distinguishing what had to stay standard versus what had to become local. So we redesigned the model, and what we have done is basically that we standardize the core of the operation, in this case the Lean Six Sigma operation, defining governance, defining metrics, defining decision criteria. But then I let my local leader, my master black belt, to basically configure execution based on their market reality. And a very specific example of that was when we standardized how people would earn their green belt certification across all these geographies. And we realized that in a specific geography, people needed more coaching and more guidance to be able to complete their green belt project. And then we allowed our black belts on the ground to increase the number of mentoring sessions to those individuals. A simple tweak, a simple adaptation.
But done an amazing result, just
exactly.
to change the perspective and change the game at the end of the day.
Exactly. So this is, again, this experience for me was really a reminder that when you have a complex problem, leadership is not about reacting emotionally, but actually creating the system and processes so that the right behavior actually comes out naturally.
Marina, you are also a Harvard Business School alumni, graduated the organizational leadership course. And I have a question: how, based on this education received, how do you see yourself as a leader after graduating this course?
Yeah.
Anything changed? There was any conversation or any concept that influenced and changed the way you see you as a leader?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just give a brief context. I had the opportunity to attend this training in a very critical moment of my career. I was transitioning from being the finance leader of a specific line of business to becoming the CFO of a whole division. So obviously my roles and responsibility were expanding, and as well the team I was going to lead. And the organization I was working for at the point in time gave me the opportunity to prepare for this change with professional training. And as you can imagine, being Harvard, the training was very well curated, rich. It touched aspects around how to set up a vision, how to give strategic direction, how to leverage communication to influence or to inspire, and how to design an organization to deliver value. But I have to tell you that beyond all those frameworks and tools, really one exercise was really fundamental for me to change how I see myself as a leader. All the participants were asked to undergo a 360-degree assessment. Maybe some of our listeners are familiar with this leadership tool, but just to briefly describe it, it's a way for you to understand how others look at you in terms of your leadership skills through a set of questions asked to a peer group, direct report, supervisor, and so on. And what was interesting for me was the first time I had the opportunity to receive such,
feedback from all the counterparts. Let's say you interacted.
Exactly. And I have to say, it was uncomfortable.
So you didn't like it?
I didn't like it at all. It was uncomfortable. I really felt exposed. But then the result of it was actually quite enlightening. One of the main themes that emerged was that I was deeply appreciative for the expertise that I was bringing to the table. But I had the tendency to share my point of view more in one-on-one conversation rather than bigger setup, group. And that was an eye-opener for me. It was a unconscious behavior that I was not aware of. So since then, I made a habit of sharing one insight, of asking a difficult question to trigger a conversation, or putting forward a point of view in each and every meeting. And that over time did magic, because then from the introvert leader I was back then, now I became a trained extrovert, like I like to define myself, and much more outspoken than years ago.
Super. So it's a dramatic change, I would
Yes,
say.
absolutely.
360 degrees change. You lived and led in Italy, Mexico, and Romania, but you also oftenly say that Mexico was the place that really shaped you deeply as a person and as a leader. What Mexico did to you that Europe never did?
Yes, so well, first of all, Mexico gave me a tolerance for spicier food and spicier conversation as compared to what I would ever get here in Europe. But joke aside, really, the time in Mexico for me really was really transformational, both professionally and personally, and especially because it happened in a very early stages of my career. We were talking about my engineering education. Immediately after that, I joined a large multinational company in Italy, where unfortunately I found a very high degree of gender discrimination. And I was told point blank, Marina, you can't be promoted because you're too young and a woman. You can imagine how I reacted, and those words really stirred something up in me, and I was clear that what I was told was wrong, and I was determined to find better organizational cultures. So I basically did something bold. I decided to leave the safety of the known and embark in a journey and going towards a very different and foreign environment. I learned about an opportunity in Mexico City, and I just went to get it. Landing in the country with 2 bags, a lot of grit, determination, and some naive optimism. I think I managed in not even 6 months to climb my way through the leadership ladder, and I have to tell you, since then my career completely changed.
For the good.
Completely changed, and the best part was no one ever made me feel that gender or age were limitation to my professional ambition. So I'm always asked by many colleagues, and especially many young women, about career advice, and I always tell them, based on my own personal experience, to really own their career and not be scared by uncertainty, and to build a lot of resilience. And this is what actually Mexico taught me, to be really fearless, adaptable, and I truly believe that Mexico has a very vibrant and adventurous spirit in the people and culture of Mexico.
That encourage such
that
steps,
encourage
and
those steps.
You
Absolutely.
felt yourself able to do this dramatic change. So, as you have mentioned, that it was a toxic actually environment, only because discrimination, because you was dreaming too big. This was the way it was said, a woman dreaming too big. This is what impressed me a lot. But instead of shrinking your ambitions, you chose vice versa. You chose to walk away, to change dramatically the lifestyle in Latin America. And my question is, how does the leader know when to fight and when just walk away in order to start a new career or to start something from the scratch?
Yeah. Look, for me, I would not characterize certain decisions as really walking away, but more walking towards something better and more exciting. And this is how I felt when I left Italy, because I was very determined to go towards something better, new opportunities. But I always look at career, and I share this with many of the people I mentor and coach across the organization. I always look at career as road trip, right? And I always ask myself, am I in the driving seat or I'm in the co-pilot seat? So I'm really driving the decision around my next career move, or I'm just sitting there and waiting for others to take the decision, right? Am I in a situation where I'm going in circle, I'm really going towards the next move and reaching my ambition and goals? And I have, maybe it's a very simple way to do a sanity check or an evaluation with myself and where I am in my career. I look at the example of a traffic light. So the light is green, which then means I feel fairly rewarded for the effort I put in, and my goals are aligned to my ambition, and then it's great. I should obviously stay and accelerate. Yeah? When the lights start to turn yellow, it means that some imbalance start to creep in, which means either I don't feel compensated or rewarded enough for the work I do, or my goals are not really in a reachable distance, or I feel somehow stuck. And then in that situation, obviously, I always, and I do it for myself, but I always recommend the people I mentor is you have to have those tough discussions. You have to negotiate. You have to say what you want, because otherwise nobody else will do.
How often do you do this exercise with yourself?
I'll do it bare minimum once per year, but now with the dynamic environment, we are all in at least once per quarter. So I really increase the speed. And then obviously the red light is, which was the situation I was in back in Italy, is when you don't feel appreciated or rewarded. You feel that you cannot progress further, and then that's, I think, the time to walk away. And again, I don't feel as really walking away, but it's more about changing the direction, right? Yeah. Going back to the example of the road trip is really, dare to drive and change the direction towards something better.
Yeah. So at Genpact, you have led multinational, multicultural organizations. And when mentalities and working styles clash, what do you focus on first that help you to earn trust?
It's been my experience that when you lead teams across different cultures and countries, the real differentiator is not really the methodology you use or the tool you choose, but at the end people will follow you and partner with you based on who you are and not your title. So for me, authenticity, practically speaking, means for example, showing up honestly and having the courage to say to my team, I don't know, let's discover the answer together. Yeah. Another example is being humble and really listen and learn regardless of hierarchy. And it might be uncomfortable, but absolutely needed. And then obviously staying curious and really as leader, we have this tendency to talk a lot, and sometimes we should actually listen more and talk less. So these are some of the examples of how I build trust through authenticity, but that's not enough, right? And to build and earn trust, I also focus a lot on the say-do ratio. So really, doing what you will say you will do. I keep my promises. I'm consistent, and I make sure that my team, partner, clients, they can rely on me, because then these create really a sense of alignment, which goes beyond different working style, and it's a behavior that it's universally respected beyond culture and nationalities. And last but not least, I'm an engineer, so obviously I anchor everything, all my conversation on facts and data. I really think that having data-driven conversation removes emotion, noise, bias, and create a reality that everyone can relate to, and also help the teams to also see that business decision are taken in a very transparent and fair way, and not just because of preference or hierarchy. So really for me, earning trust is really a combination of this aspect of being authentic, being reliable, and driving conversation.
And walk as you talk. So.
Exactly, absolutely.
So you have said repeatedly that success in today's world isn't just about strategy or metrics, it's about people. How do you translate that belief into daily leadership behavior, not just culture statements?
So for me, it's very simple, and I'll give you a very practical example. We were talking about, walking the talk. What I typically do is, if there's a tough client conversation, I'm the first, addressing the tough client conversation so that my team can learn from it. If there's a crisis, a business crisis, a very difficult situation, I'm not the leader who stays, in the bench and just direct. I'm the leader who goes in the trenches and making sure that the team feel confident that we can get out of that crisis. And going back to the concept of authenticity, I'm not afraid to say how I truly am when my, people around me are asking me how I am. This is a question that everybody, answer very generically, and I never do. I always say how I am in the specific moment, because I think it helps create the sense of
trust also. First of all.
Absolutely. So these are just some simple examples that on how I lead in a way that obviously I'm not saying metrics and processes are not important. Obviously are there and are absolutely critical. But at the end, especially in the industry I am, the main asset and is the people that I'm working with.
So as you said, you as a leader, you time to time can be a soldier in the front line.
Absolutely.
Just to be a role model and show, lead by example.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's very important.
So at Genpact, you also transfer the data, the figures. So you step in when it was underperforming situation, and you really turned around into a great success with driving the revenue growth, stabilizing delivery, increasing customer excellence score. But when you step into a struggling organizations, as it happened to you, at what you look at first, at the beginning, in order to change the situation? It's about people, data, or culture, or mentality, or maybe something else?
Yeah, great question. So honestly, I look at all three, because people, culture, numbers are so deeply interconnected that you can't ignore one versus the other. But I have to admit that, again, I always start with people. And specifically, I start with listening and really understanding what's the business challenge we are facing. And that gives me an opportunity to really understand, do we have a gap in skill set and expertise? Do we have a gap in capacity and bandwidth? Do we have a gap in ways of working and governance? But obviously, let me be clear, numbers are absolutely important, and they tell you a very clear story. They help you understand the pain area, where value is leaking, or where opportunities are hiding. So, but there is where my Six Sigma, mindset that we were talking about before comes into play. And then I have this tendency of unpacking problem and processes, analyzing data, analyzing root causes, and then separating the noise from the real signal.
Can you share any situation of such, or a use case exactly when something was broken and you approached and changed the situation?
Absolutely. So again, here there are so many situations, but it was probably midway in my career path. Again, I made another bold move to move back from Mexico to Europe, and also to shift my role from a functional one to an operational role. And at that point in time, I started to lead the banking and insurance portfolio across EMEA. The business was going through a rough time, highly margin dilutive. We were under tremendous pressure because the client was threatening to pull back the business. And obviously the company was expecting me to fix it in no time, right? And there was this assumption that because at that point in time I was already an experienced leader with 15 years of experience, I would have all the answer. And but for me it was a new area, a new role, a new industry, and a very defining moment was when I had to admit that I didn't have all the answer, right? And then I did what I was referring to before, which is starting with people first. I sat down with my team. We spent many hours, many weekends to really understand what was happening, why the client was not happy. And as I did that, then I applied my Six Sigma mindset to unpack the processes, do root causing, analyze data, and I was able to bring to the table some people that were actually smarter than me in a very specific area. And through my coaching and my, again, engineering and problem-solving mindset, we were able to actually identify what was going wrong, which was a combination of skill set and wrong expectation. And then in a matter of 6 months, we turned around the business, the client became a promoter, and from there we expanded. So
smart people also needed you as a leader in order to be guided, to have a helicopter view and start to Six Sigma to apply to the processes.
Absolutely. And what was fulfilling is the fact that, I mean, as a leader, you should not be scared about having smarter people in the room, and I found that this is very frequently happening. I actually always tell my team, the smarter you are, the more successful we are all together, right?
Yeah, because leader is a manager. They need to be surrounded by smart people and good people and to grow together.
Exactly.
So people often describe you as a leader that knows how to earn the respect of men. And you inspire a lot of women to fight for their career, to grow for their ambitions. You also are known that you bring to the boardroom the clarity. You know how to translate the complex ideas into very simple and clear messages. And the question is, when you enter in the boardroom, how do you approach a situation with conflicting agendas, and it's not simplicity, not only conflicting agendas, but with strong egos?
Yeah, you are describing one of my days. This happens very frequently.
So how do you earn the respect in such situations?
It's really a fascinating topic, and I was debating this topic with a friend of mine in US. He is a professional coach and coach leaders to basically strengthen the executive presence. And he was sharing with me that he identified 24 qualities that a leader should strengthen and exercise to become a great leader, right? Like athlete would do, we would not just train the legs, but would just train the whole body, right? So and some of these qualities are like judgment, stamina, charisma, focus, and so on. And in certain situations, I realize, and especially in the situation you were describing, with different egos and strong egos, conflicting agenda, you have to flex some muscles, some qualities more than others. One that I found particularly helpful is empathy, and I'll tell you why. Empathy is a great way to bring down defensive behavior from those strong egos. Exactly. So even if I don't particularly agree with the point being made in that particular situation, I make sure I acknowledge the point. I make sure I acknowledge even the feeling and the emotion that comes with it. And by doing that, immediately the situation comes down, and I can move the conversation forward, right? So this is one example. Another example, I work primarily in very international environment. We have very strong cultures and very strong characters, and I have to make sure that I project confidence all the time, especially when I want to defend my point of view, or I want to make sure that my decision is being heard, taken, and follow through. So this aspect of projecting confidence in that kind of tense situation is really, really important. But the last one, which is probably a little bit counterintuitive, and sometimes is also, it has a little bit of a stigma and is wrongly interpreted, is vulnerability. And vulnerability is not, being weak and being sensitive, but vulnerability is much more about speaking the truth and having the courage to speak the truth, having the courage to create intimacy, and really going to the crux of the conversation. And I really found that, in my experience, in our conversation, I've been leaders that are able to show and are comfortable to show their vulnerability are often the leaders that are more powerful and they're able to get results faster and gain trust faster.
You are a strong advocate, as I said, for making Genpact an AI-first organization. And you also invested a lot, even in your education. You also made the AI advanced courses at MIT. From your perspective, what does responsible value created AI means for clients? Not in theory, but in a practical way.
Actually, this is a question that I get from clients too, a lot, as I advise them on how to move forward into this technological transformation. But for me, responsible AI, value-driven AI is really simple. It's AI that starts by solving a real business problem, not by applying technology to a process, but actually to look at a process, understand the gaps in the process, and then finding the way where technology...
The solution, providing the solution.
The solution. So that's the first piece. And the second piece is AI needs to augment the human capability to take decisions. And absolutely, it needs to then translate, all of this needs then translate into a financial, tangible business impact, which is one of the challenges we are seeing today in many industry. So for me, as I said, it starts first of all by looking at the process, redesigning the process, and very critical, redesigning the process in a way that technology is adopted by design. And what I mean by that, and I would like to make an example, is when AI came into place, there were a flurry of use cases around knowledge bot and chatbot of different sorts, and that's not what I refer to as technological adoption by design, because you still have to prompt the bot. You still have to go and have the willingness to interact with the machine. And this is one of the key failures of how AI is being implemented nowadays. But what I always advise my clients to do is actually to flip the coin and to look at it in a different way, and making sure that through a process redesign, technology is in the flow of work of the people, so that it actually deliver the right value.
And when you have opened the AI Innovation Center in Bucharest, you emphasize the importance of collaboration between employees, partners, teams, in order to co-create solutions. If you can tell us a little bit more about co-creating solutions, what does it mean in practice, and maybe to share some business case that it happened, and these co-creating solutions actually brought the measurable impact on the business.
So, I'm really proud about this. I'm referring to the collaboration and co-creation and co-design with one of our major clients. Is a client in the space of technology and data services, and what we have agreed with them is to reimagine and redesign their finance and back office processes. So what we did is that we invited them here in Bucharest, in the Innovation Center. We had more than 20 people coming from different countries and different areas of their organization, from the business and operation, from their tech team, and also in certain cases their partners, technological partners. We spent actually quite a few days, almost an entire week with my team, which was a combination of process expert, tax expert, and
so also interdepartmental team.
Yes, it's very important because otherwise the co-creation doesn't happen.
For different roles, different perspectives.
Exactly. The outcome of that 1 week of intense brainstorming and work was a transformation roadmap, which basically translates into a long list of projects and initiatives then we started to implement. Fast forward, this happened 2 years ago. Fast forward, now I'm proud to share that we have delivered more than 300 million of business impact to this company, with around 3 million of P&L impact, and we basically decreased their operating costs by half. And this was possible through a series of Gen AI, robotic automation, and also agentic product that touch different part of their finance organization, their finance processes, from data extraction for invoice matching, from vendor reconciliation, from customer communication. So we went through, all the way through different finance processes, and I'm very excited about this journey. And this was like a flagship, let's say, type of event, and then many other clients hearing this story
requested from you
Yes.
to do the same exercise.
Exactly.
It was a good exercise actually to be repeated afterwards in their companies towards the other processes.
Exactly, absolutely.
So you are a pioneer in teaching the businesses also how to
Yeah,
apply the engineering approach and mindset in their business.
Yeah.
Why do you think that still many leaders expect AI to be a magic rather to be the fundamental work under the processes?
Can I say something provocative?
Yeah, try.
Because very few people understand
What
what
is it?
AI is. AI is not a magic wand. AI depends on processes and data. And while it's very glamorous to talk about the potential of AI and what AI can do, for AI to deliver those results, it requires a lot of foundational work, a lot of meticulous work in studying the processes, studying data. Data is a big issue why AI doesn't work, because typically in big organization, data is unstructured, is sitting in different part of the organization, different ERPs. So unless and until leaders are willing to understand the basic and fundamentals of AI, and willing to invest the time and resources to actually prepare the business for AI, it will be very difficult to actually see value. At the end, from a broken process, AI can only amplify what doesn't work.
The broken process.
The broken exactly.
The problem.
The problem. Our president and CEO always say there's no artificial intelligence without process intelligence. And that's why we focus a lot on the process part to prepare the business.
So a pre-work needed,
Absolutely.
and kind of orientation program how to approach AI, it's needed before to start actually to dive into. Okay, but looking ahead, you have defined the modern leader as the architect of synergy between humans and machines. What skill will leaders urgently need to develop in order to face this augmented world of data and AI?
Yeah. So obviously everybody talks about being AI savvy, and I said before, very few people really understand what AI really means. So obviously there's a base and foundation of understanding technology, data, and AI that is needed. But beyond that, for many leaders, what I would recommend is 3 big, let's say, fundamental skills that needs to be developed. First of all, and it's one of my favorite, is critical thinking. So we are bombarded, I'm bombarded every day with tons of data.
And information.
I had to take decision in a matter of minutes. I had to constantly develop my ability to connect the dot across all these different set of data I'm receiving, to be able to use my judgment in a meaningful way and take decision, but also spot when AI goes wrong and when AI is giving me data that doesn't make sense. So that can only be possible if we exercise critical thinking, which means going back to the Lean Six Sigma background, continually asking the why, and going deeper and not staying on the surface. So that's one, and the second, I could clearly see the shift in this last year in multiple client conversation, is really building meaningful relationship. And when I say I'm not referring to generic networking or business networking. I'm really referring to the trust that we were talking about before, being able to speak the truth, being able to create that intimacy. Because at the end, and most of the business decisions are still taken based on trust.
On trust and relationship.
Exactly.
So valuable relationship, long-term relationship, and that brings value together.
Yeah.
So,
And the last one, obviously, it's a very dynamic period for across industry. So that speed and mental agility, it's obviously needed. And I would advise everyone to keep learning. This continuous learning is to be part of our DNA. And I do it myself. As you said, I enrolled in an MIT program. I enrolled in a Stanford program. Every year I try to do something new. This year I'm on data. I'm upskilling myself on data, and it's really fundamental to keep being relevant.
Yeah, in this very buzzy world, to still have the capability to prioritize the information and then the decision. So it's really a skill that needs everything you described, and critical thinking and everything, and continuous learning, as you mentioned. And as an AI savvy now, I will ask you, it's my personal curiosity, how do you see AI more a revolution of technology or a tool that is helping to optimize the processes and business and stuff, or a competitor even to the human being? And why I'm putting this question, because Yuval Harari, for instance, he made a comparison between, he said, a knife, it's a tool. AI, it's not a tool. A knife doesn't decide to cut the salad or something else. AI, agentic AI, so it's already there. It's in a way using the large language models and can express even better in certain situations than the human being. So it is a competitor or not yet?
I don't see it, honestly. I'm a positive, I'm by now you know me, I'm a positive, happy person. I don't see it as a competitor. I see it as actually, if you will, a partner that helps me augment my skill set as a human. I know everybody says that, but I truly believe. But to be able to leverage AI as a partner to augment our capabilities, that critical thinking I was mentioning before is really, really important, because if I'm not able to understand the goods and the bads of what I'm getting from a AI companion, then I'll just become a generalist, and then obviously my value is diluted. So it's a difficult human and machine working together. It's definitely a difficult combination. We are not used to it. We are just learning how to do it. But I want to stay positive and optimistic. And if people take the time to keep using their brain, not just to search and get everything done by AI, but to debate, to question, to discuss.
Yeah, to create, to challenge, not just to take the answers ready.
Ready, exactly. then I think
you are okay.
I'm okay.
Okay, super. So I like your positive approach. So I will embrace it. Okay, so now you almost finished the conversation, and I don't want to miss a little bit the personal touch in this discussion. You have led the global region and you travel constantly. It was not easy even to catch you for this interview. So, and at the same time, you are also raising on your own 3 children. One teenager, passionate for the trade and tech, and 10 years old twins. So, what systems or non-negotiables allow you to operate at this level without the chaos really taking over?
Yeah. So if you would have asked me this question 15 years back, I would have given you a very different answer. But today, the answer I'm going to give you is I just embrace the chaos. I don't fight the chaos, and I stop feeling constantly guilt about the fact I cannot manage everything perfectly.
Or it's something it's not done, or something.
Yes, yes. I mean, no one can. That's a big realization, and it's a big realization that actually came from my son when he was 3 years old. But obviously, as you navigate the chaos, at least what works for me, I have, let's say, I have few anchors in my life. When talking about the kids, for example, yes, I travel a lot, but we have certain rituals, and a simple ritual is no matter where I am, no matter client meeting, no matter whatever I have to do from a business perspective, I always call them in the morning for breakfast and in the evening for dinner, so they feel my presence, even
always
physical,
your presence.
even if it's not
and
obviously.
Technology is helping us, thanks God, today.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a way for me to make them feel my presence, even if it's not physical, at least virtual. And then another anchor, for example, is over the weekend I absolutely don't work. So unless something really
exceptional.
Yeah, exceptional that is happening. But over the weekend I protect that time, which means also I don't constantly look at my phone and try to answer email. I'm really being focused and present for them. And we typically always choose to do something fun, at least one thing fun all together over the weekend, to create that sense of belonging as a family. And this applies also with my team in a different ways, obviously, but I have also some anchor with them to make to ensure that we work in a very productive way and we don't lose time. So over the past 2 years since I have been in this role, we have clarify the standard, the quality standard that I'm expecting. So whenever we are preparing for a client meeting or a client visit or an internal review, they absolutely know what I'm expecting. So then when we come together, then the conversation are really productive and there's no rework that is happening.
Yeah, it's not a surprise for them and unpreparedness for a situation. You said that you embrace the chaos. To me, it sounded like you analyzed the process, you identified the rules, and you transformed it into habits. That's why you have your calls and no working weekends, which is excellent. Sounds excellent to me.
That's true.
So you often say, especially to women, we are not ambitious enough. And it's a bold statement, I should say. It's a bold statement that really touched the comfort zone. What transformation do you actually hope to trigger when you say?
Yeah, and look, obviously when I'm saying that we are not ambitious enough, it's not meant to offend anyone, and it's not meant to say that we are not trying, but it's a way to actually challenge everything that holds us back. System, organizational cultures, and even our own insecurity. So what I'm trying to do with this bold statement is actually trigger some reaction and trigger some action. Being 20 plus year in business and with the role that I have right now, I really feel a huge responsibility and duty to enable other women to continue and pursue their dreams from a professional perspective. And sometimes I still see so many women colleagues that are trapped in self-confidence challenges, that they are stuck maybe with not the right supervisor, and they don't know how to get out of that situation. So I really would like to inspire them to take action like I did back then when I moved from Italy to Mexico. I could have stayed, right? I could have stayed accepting the status quo, and my life and professional life would have been very, very different. But in that moment, I had the courage to, take a bold decision, and
you never regret it.
I never regret
this is
it.
why maybe you share this experience for the others to learn quicker and do not spend more time. Actually, do not lose time in waiting that the situation change, but
it's all about owning our career, right? Nobody will come and, we have this a little bit of how we're raised on society, raise women is we always expect someone else to save us. There's no someone saving us, right? It's us owning our career and move forward.
Okay, and my last question, from your experience in global leadership, what should women stop doing and start doing if they want to play at international leadership role? And I should say that this question comes from my daughter. She is 17 years.
Oh, wonderful.
And she also is dreaming for an international leadership career.
Yeah,
so.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. First of all, I think that women should stop waiting for a permission, waiting for a promotion, waiting for someone else to take care of their career, which I still see this happening a lot. And then I think in many cases I've seen women settling for less than what they deserve. There are many situations where we just accept to do a simpler job or a simpler role just because we think we can't reach the next level, and we should push us harder. And then, I mean, kind of related to that is basically, stop, because of society put a lot on us.
Yeah.
We are mothers, we are daughters, we are friends, we are partners, etc.
We are multifunctional in a way.
With all these burden that society put on us, we tend to shrink our ambition. We tend to say, okay, I have all these other roles that I have to fulfill in life, then my professional career maybe is less important, and we favor everything else versus our own career. So I think this is really all these habits and behaviors and thinking that go into our head are really limiting us. And obviously, on the other side, what we should do, I take this from my own experience. It's really owning your career, really talking about your career, what you want, what you deserve. It's really important to spell it out for everybody around you to know what you want. Then I have a bias for taking risk. I have a bias to, if there's a role where I know probably I'm qualified 80% of it, or I still want to go and do it, right? Women, we have our monkeys in our head, and unless we are super qualified for that role, we will not necessarily apply for it. So I changed that over the years. I changed that. I would invite many women colleagues to do the same. And the last, which again for me was really, really important, building resilience. The world of business becoming extremely complex, extremely demanding, and our ability to be resilient, and there will be setbacks, there will be things that will go wrong. And if we take it too personally, then it affects us, our health, our well-being, and that ability to have a thick skin, it's extremely important to be successful.
Okay, thank you so much for the honesty and again for this empathy towards maybe the audience from women's side, but not only, I guess. because these values and these lessons of yours are very important, and maybe they will work for others too.
I
in
really
a
hope so.
positive
I really hope
way.
so.
So before we wrap up, I still have a challenge for
Okay.
you, and it is my rubric called The Leader Beyond the Stage. I'm going to start some sentences and ask you just to complete, so just to continue, but ad hoc, so not overthinking, please.
Okay.
It's a blitz interview. So, my perfect day starts with:
A coffee.
when no one is watching, I'm surprisingly good at.
Dancing.
A belief my younger self would probably question today is.
I'm too serious.
One thing very few people know about me is.
That I cook actually very well, despite not having time.
This you need to try. The place where I feel most myself is not an office, it is.
My home in Mexico City.
A habit that helps me stay grounded, no matter how complex my role becomes, is.
Yoga. I do vinyasa yoga.
When I need to make a difficult decision, I usually check one thing.
I usually check data.
If my children described me in one sentence, I hope they would say.
You are so cool, Mom.
My team know they can always expect.
Me being in the trenches with them.
And the last one. If I had to describe leadership in just one word, it would be.
Adaptable.
Yeah, in this chaotic and very changing world. So Marina, thank you so much for this really, really interesting conversation, and for showing that strong leadership can be both disciplined and deeply human.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And to my watcher, I also thank you for watching this episode, and please, if you like it, please share, subscribe, in order to make this conversation more loud, more visible, and to be able to bring to you conversations that matter. And thank you, and see you in the next episode.